Dementia affects around 850,000 people in the UK. 7.1% of people over the age of 65 suffer with dementia, and 1 in 6 people over the age of 80. Dementia is known as an umbrella term. This is used to show that dementia is a group of diseases that cause the brain to slowly deteriorate. The 4 most common types of dementia are Alzheimer's disease, vascular dementia, frontotemporal dementia, dementia with Lewy bodies. Alzheimer's disease affects a person's memory. The symptoms include losing items, forgetting names of people and places, difficulty finding the correct words, increasing confusion, repeating oneself, paranoia, problems with speech, insomnia, mood swings, short, long-term memory loss. Vascular dementia affects your mental abilities. The symptoms are lack of concentration, loss of memory, slow thinking, trouble understanding, behavioural changes, confusion, difficulty finding the correct word, loss of bladder control, personality changes and depression. Frontotemporal dementia is quite uncommon. This affects behaviour and language. The symptoms for this type of dementia are loss of memory, language problems, personal changes, lack of mental abilities, behaviour changes, still movement, weakness in muscles. Dementia with Lewy bodies is when a protein in the brain called alpha-synuclein is deposited in uncommon amounts. This affects chemicals in the brain which affect personal behaviour, thinking, mood and movement. The symptoms include difficulty understanding, alertness, confusion, insomnia, loss of memory, problems with thinking, fainting and unsteadiness. Dementia dates all the way back to the 2000 BC in Egypt. It was first named in 1797 by Philippe Pinel, the French psychiatrist. The name dementia comes from Latin meaning out of one's mind. The first person to be diagnosed was called Augustus de Terre. He was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in 1901.
Well, dementia really affects your memory, and in many cases people remember things from many years ago, but they forget what they maybe had for breakfast that morning. It's a very misunderstood disease, and it is a disease, and people just have to go with it. And if it's your partner or family member, just accept that's how it is, and that's the best thing you can do. Accept them for what they are, and it is a very difficult thing to manage, but that's the best way to approach it.
It was my mum. She died in January. She started having symptoms like forgetting things a good 10 years before, and that gradually increased where she'd hallucinate, think there was a man up the garden whistling at her. She'd phone the police and the police had come round. Then she'd take herself for a walk with the dog. The dog wasn't on a lead. The neighbours would pick her up, phone me at work and say, can you come pick your mum up? She went through a stage of being very violent as well. She suffered from Lewy bodies, which basically eats the brain from the back to the front. And over the course it got worse, and there was one situation where she, because obviously her memory was going, she'd reverted back to the age of a 6-year-old. And when my stepdad was talking to her, she said, don't talk to me like an adult, I'm only 6. and that was really quite sad to see that. She did though sometimes recognise who I was, which was quite nice, but in the end it just eats the body so much they can't swallow, they can't drink, and Mum was bedridden in the end, and that was hard to see, really hard to see. And they're just lying there waiting to die. That's the sad thing. And she talked to people that weren't there. The hallucinations were awful. She like men in black coats. I don't know why black, but men in black coats coming to get her. Children sitting under tables. It was really quite horrific to watch. But then saying that the Alzheimer's Society have got a real good helpline. My dad used that on a daily basis to speak to people that were going through the same. I think there should be more done to help people. Yeah, I think there should be more support for the families, because although the person's still there, you've lost them. Like I lost my mum 10 years ago. Heartbreaking.
Confusion. Terminal.
Frustration.
Unpredictable.
Loneliness.
Dementia is terminal. There is no cure, but there is many ways you can help a person who suffers with this disease. You can keep them company. They may not recognise you anymore, but that doesn't mean they don't get lonely. You can help them with daily routines such as feeding them, brushing their hair and dressing them. Read them a book. People who suffer with dementia sometimes only remember things from their childhood, so reading them a book or showing them toys from their childhood would make them feel happy at home. Donating to dementia charity. There are many charities out there that support dementia and the research for a cure. These charities include Dementia UK, Alzheimer's Society and Alzheimer's Research.